Hello there, everybody. I did just do a quick test record and then I just started waffling on and on and on and on. And I thought, well, I might as well just make a whole video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a rundown of how I tackle building projects and just basically inventory management in Minecraft. So my build style is kind of just on the fly. I don't really go into creative like this and do big projects and then recreate it. Yeah, I just try to keep as much stuff on me as possible so that I can just use lots of materials, do lots of interesting decorations and stuff. And yeah, always keep this like middle section of my inventory clear for building and as many spots as possible on the bottom line there. For like block picking, you know, down here. So what I used to do is I used to keep like my pickaxe, then I'd have an axe, then I'd have a spoon, then I'd have a sword, and then over here I'd have like 3 things and I'd only be left with 2 things in the middle to block pick while building. So now I leave myself with 5 or possibly 6. I don't always keep torches or scaffolding on me, but I do like to keep that that spot there open for torches and scaffolding for when I'm building. And I always just keep my my food in the last one. Sometimes I don't even have a tool in the second slot. If I'm specifically only building with wood, I'll move my axe over to here, and then I will, you know, typically not, but sometimes just to give myself just that extra spot of block picking, I will just only work with the pickaxe, or only work with a spoon, or only work with a axe, or yeah, much room as possible in here. And yeah, this is basically just a video on how I like to keep as much stuff as on me as possible, not necessarily in the numbers, so I have project boxes for that to stock up, but in like the block type. So things that I can use for decorating, basically. Things I can use to make look interesting. And instead of using the same blocks over and over and over, I try to keep as much stuff with me as possible. Anyway, so give me your thoughts on what you would do differently, because I'm really, really interested to know. This is what works for me. This is a second rendition. I did have one that got lost not that long ago, but I think this one's better. This is just what works for me. I wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, I'd be really interested to know what you guys use, what you guys do, what changes you would make, and all that good stuff. So like and subscribe. Sure. Thank you. And yeah, enjoy and give me feedback. This is my inventory. Obviously the first 3 are what we see here. And then the bottom line is my hotbar. This is how I would normally have it set up. I have all these shulkers in my inventory, and then I have additional shulkers. Sorry, all these shulkers in my ender chest, and then I have all these additional shulkers in my inventory. So I've got 3 project boxes. And then 1 mess box to keep things tidy when I'm pulling stuff in and out, and just so I don't make a mess, basically, so I can save all of these slots for things that I'm actually using while I'm building. And then I have my black pack with, you know, all this stuff that is not in my ender chest storage that I keep on me. So it just removes that one step of getting stuff like extra food, diamonds while shopping. And then I've got tools that I would have either like silk or whatever on that's not kept on me at all times. Okay, so for the shulker box storage, we've got all of our green stuff on the left here. I used to have it in the middle on these 9, but the divide between what's in these boxes and what's in these boxes was a bit too great, even though it made it look a lot tidier because it's, you know, so much color going on here. It just made a lot more sense to have what's in these boxes kind of connected. So I've got them on the left now. So we've got flowers. I used to have a lot of like bundles in here and keep all my dyes in here as well, but I've moved them over to another box that you'll see later. So we've got flowers, plants, and crops. So all the things that I typically use, and then things that I don't really, like seeds. I've just got a little bit of everything on me at all times, just using the odd block for decoration or or whatever. And then the nether plants there. Okay, leaves and saplings. It's a little bit different to how I used to have it, but I kind of like it. I've got like how I've got all these boxes here organized. I've got the middle lot here. And then I've got like mushrooms and moss over on this side. And then I've got the nether stuff over on this side. So I've kind of kept like the leaves of what's in these. So the first one, you've got bamboo, which you don't have a leaf for. So I've just put the extra mangrove root there because I didn't have a spot. Bamboo and then pale oak. Then this one is oak and dark oak. So you'd get oak and dark oak. And this is birch, spruce, so on and so forth. Anyway, that's just how I've got that organized. And then we've got these over here. I did try and have like these next to these, but it just didn't really work out. It's better with those all in the middle. Okay, anyway, so we've got our 6 boxes that both have 2 wood types each. So bamboo with pale oak. And then you've got these bundles here with the extra little bits that you don't need so much of, that you can always craft extra of too if you need them, and always sticks in all of the boxes, which I find I use a lot more than I originally would have thought. So I always just keep the sticks there. So oak and dark oak again with the bundles. We've got birch, spruce, jungle and acacia. We've got cherry and mangrove. So the pinky tones are kept together. The orangey tones are kept together. These 3 here was kind of hard to decide what to put with what, like because I didn't know if I should put the oak, pale oak with the normal oak, and then the dark oak with the spruce. But then it doesn't really work out. I don't know. I just like it like this, how I've got dark oak and normal oak, and then the pale oak over here. It just kind of worked out for me better, but I always do think, should I change it? And anyway, you got the crimson and the warped in the last box there. Now over to here, we've got ground cover, diorite sand and quartz, granite, red sand and bricks. So ground cover, plus we've got the dripstone, snow, clay. And we've got moss in a few boxes, but I do tend to use it a lot. And it kind of just makes sense to be grouped with other things. It's sometimes a lot easier to find. Gravel used to be with the sand. I've got some gravel in my concrete box as well to make extra gravel, but yeah, ground cover, go down the line here. So all the lighter stuff is in this one, and then all the orangey stuff is in this one. So we've got them kind of set out with all the block type boxes pretty much the same. We've got the full blocks, then the stairs, then the slabs, then walls if we have them, and then it kind of gets a little bit jumbled with what's left over in the middle. This one I kept the quartz all along the lower one. It just made a lot more sense. This one here, we've got the granite, red sand. We've got the mud bricks and the bricks here. In my old shulker storage, I used to have these bricks kind of differently. I had them with the clay and the clay balls and everything as well, but I just, keep getting updates, keep getting extra things, and a lot of things don't fit. This box over here is a big old mess, but a lot more cleaner than it used to be. Yeah, so copper box is pretty good. We've got the new copper golems coming soon, which hopefully I won't really have to add anything to this. This should just be able to stay nice and tidy. But yeah, if we ever do get stuff, we've always got that bundle option. It does give you the option to carry a lot more stuff, a lot more variety, but you want to be careful not to put too much stuff in there, because then when you're using it, you're going, say you want to keep it tidy instead of just dumping it on the floor. Say I want to get this block here, instead of just grabbing it out when I need it, I normally take everything up until what I need, and I use it, and then I put it back, so that when I'm packing up the same way, and everything's always in the same spot, instead of these bundles getting messy as well. It's a little bit of an extra step, but I find it really works for me. So we've got the stone and cobble, and then the mossy stuff down the bottom. I find having the vines in there comes in really handy, because once you start getting into the moss, you can start pulling this line of stuff down, getting, mossy stuff really quickly. I've got the new lodestones, which are a lot easier to make. I've got those in a couple of boxes as well, which is really good. I'm really excited to be able to use those and not have to use like a netherite ingot. Right, we've got andesite, tough, and because this is like a lighter of the greys, I've got a darker one over here. Because this is a lighter one, I've put the dead corals here. And I didn't originally have the fans and stuff with it, but it's a lot more tidier in this box, plus I had one extra space. So I either had lodestones in here as well, or yeah, instead of having a bundle like an extra bundle up in here. I've just put them in there. I might come back and change it later, but for now, that's how I've got it. Yeah, so when I do take stuff out of the boxes, what I do is I grab like a full stack, left click, right click one, use it, do the same, left click the full stack, right click one. So it's really quick, like when I'm picking stuff out. Then I go about, I do my building, blah, 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 come back. When I'm tidying up, what I do is I just hold shift and I shift everything back and everything stays tidy all the time. I never have an empty box here. That way when I go back to my storage system as well, like I always have a big storage system in my base, and I will fill up stuff, I can just get, you know, the andesite stuff, fill up my inventory, shift click, everything back, filling everything up, which hopefully the new copper golems can put stuff into shulkers. So far, they can only put stuff into chests. But yeah, I'm really hoping they'll be able to put stuff into shulkers because this will help me immensely. I always use some type of variation of the shulker box storage in my ender chest, so you can see it over here. This is what it looks like, exactly the same basically. Also with those numbers at the top, when I've got lots of shulkers out, I know exactly where to put them back because some of them do share colors, and yeah, just to keep things easy. Obviously the green one goes there, but so I've got these two gray ones here. So to know which one goes where, I've got the 4, that one's in the middle one. The first little kind of symbol that you can see at the top is the middle one, and then this one goes at the bottom. I don't know if you can see the difference, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. So this one would go up here, then this one would go down here. So all of these have the same symbol at the beginning. Then I could just shift click those ones in, and all of the middle ones have the same symbol. All of the top ones have the same symbol, and then we've got number 1, number 1, number 1. Number 2, number 2, number 2, number 3, number 3, number 3. Yeah, so it just makes packing up and keeping things in the same spot really, really, really foolproof. And then once you get used to it and you've used it a couple of times on a build and you want to say, I want to find ice, I know exactly where it is because I know where the ice is, you know, by memory. The ice is in here. And it always is in the same spot, same spot, same spot. It's never moved. So we've got like all the oceany stuff I tried to keep together and with like the lights. So we've got the prismarine, the ice. I used to have snow in here, but I've kind of changed it up. Got a couple of the nether lights, and I also included the obsidian in here. It kind of had it in between these ones. Having it in here just makes a little bit of extra sense for me because I do use these crying obsidians for a little bit of light effects, as well as these blocks, obviously. And it just makes a little bit of extra sense to have those two together. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me to remember that obsidian is in here. But I also do have some, I think, in my exploration pack, but we'll see in a minute. Okay, so these top ones, we've got things that you don't really use that much of. I've kept in the bundles and squeeze them in. So I've got like the ocean stuff, so wet sponges and dry sponges. We've got the skulk, which I do use sometimes for decorating. I use the skulk sensors a lot for redstone. I had a lot of fun with those with my Halloween build. Yeah, just triggering stuff as people walk around the cemetery, which was really fun. But I do have a lot of those in my redstone box as well. Okay, so we've got endstone. I have done a big build with endstone as well, and it actually looked really good. But if I ever do need more, what we do is we use our project boxes. So same with the purple and the resin. I'm never really gonna very often do big builds with these, but I always like to have the option to have those, you know, like the different color blocks available just for a little tiny bit of detail. If you don't have it on you, you tend not to use it. You just, okay, I'll just use, you know, a wood type of something that I have. But because I have such a huge range of stuff, I find that I get a lot of extra detail in my builds just building on the fly. So I've got deep slate, the basalt, and then the geodes. So the geodes stuff kind of just fits where I can fit it. With this box, I did try to put the dead coral in here. I tried to put some stuff that we've got in this box in here, but the basalt really is quite such a similar color to these that I really wanted it to be in this particular box. And it just made sense to put, you know, the basalt, the calcite, and the amethyst stuff, all the geode stuff all together. Actually build quite a lot more than I thought I ever would with the nether brick. When you have it all together, it's just, everything just blurs in together. You can't see any detail and stuff, but sprinkling in and peppering in like these little these blocks into the like roofs, making shadows. I use it a lot. Not red nether bricks so much, but I can see myself using it in the future for other things. So the blackstone, I couldn't really fit too much of the blackstone stuff in here. It is nice and tidy to have it cut off at that point. So to put those ones into a bundle rather than putting some of these ones into a bundle. And it also makes sense for me when I'm trying to remember where the stuff is. Like you get the blackstone in the nether, you get the nether stuff in the nether. So that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, these ones are really, really tidy and organized. And then it gets to a bit of a mess again over here. So we've got glass. I have all my color boxes all set out exactly the same. Makes it so easy. So we've got all the glasses. We've got the, you know, the normal glass and the tinted glass on the side. And then purples and the magentas will be up here. The gray and the light gray will be up here, you know, all the stuff. And what I do is I don't max out my bundle storage. I don't put like 32 and 32 because then if I've used some red and I've used all of them and I need to make more and I've made too much and I need to pack up, I need that little bit of wiggle room to kind of go over sometimes if I've made too much or whatever, instead of putting it all in my mess box over here. I don't want that to get too full because packing up, you know, then it's a big mess. So I do always leave a little bit of wiggle room in my bundles. I try not to pack them up too much. And what I did is I kept the moss and the pale moss in here too, because when you're doing carpets and stuff, you know, these are kind of carpet blocks as well. Okay, so we've got the concrete. So we've got all the concrete powder there because we use a lot less concrete powder than we do actual concrete. Then I've got sand and gravel to make extra if we need to, and a water bucket. I do have a water bucket in another box as well, but having it in this box is, you know, I can make concrete super quickly if I need to. So we've got the terracotta with all the glaze up here, and this is where I've moved the clay to. Okay, we've got decorations of workstations. Decorations. This one, you can put so much in your decorations box. What you want to do is not have so much in bundles because you want to be able to see what you've got. So there's like the chorus flower that I wanted to put in here, but you can't really put it on anything, and you know, just a couple of like eyes of ender that I use for decoration sometimes. And we just have the one bundle in here where we can make extra books really quickly. We can make extra books with the leather and the paper, and then we can make written books really quickly with the ink sac and the feather. Yeah, so we've got the workstations here. There are a couple missing kind of, or not workstations, and I did take some out, put some in. Lodestones came in and out of this box quite a few times. For now, I think this is looking pretty organized. Don't really want to show you the mess box first, but yeah, I guess we'll go from the top. Okay, so this is bundles of color, and I thought it was kind of funny to put it in a white box. And it does look kind of nicer having like the lighter boxes up the top, and it was just following through with that color. So this is what I'm talking about, a big mess. But this is what we don't really use all that often, so we're not going in this box, you know, a lot and pulling stuff in and out. So we did used to have the dies in the flower box, but because I had them in the flower box, I had to have them only 2 bundles last time, and it wasn't enough dies. I've also kept glow ink sacks in each one as well, so that I'm not using an extra space. I did that as well with the candles here. We've got the dies there, we've got the candles, and we've got the banners. So I've kept them all kind of together. And what I've done is I've named these ones like the monochromes, the warm, the cool. This one I didn't really know what to call because it's got warm and cool colors, but I looked it up online and Google suggested blossom. So I thought, yeah, sure, blossom. Blossom actually makes a lot of sense. So it is really quick and easy to find exactly what I need. Like I'm building over here, I'm decorating, I want to put a candle there. Okay, I want to have a pink candle. I go over here, you know, just quickly, pink candle. Put some pink candles down like this. I clean up. And then I put my box back. It's super easy. Like I don't have to run back to my base, go and craft pink candles because I probably don't have any. Having this kind of storage kind of forces you to have something of everything. So we've got the colorful stuff here. And then over here, this is where we have the ores. Now this is different to how I had it, but I think it's going to work out a lot better to the last way that I had it. How I had it before was I had all these kind of like little ones. Like I had all the ingots together. So I had iron ingots, gold ingots, copper ingots all together in one. But I found that I was always going from one bundle to another bundle. I had like all the blocks together so that I could craft more ingots. So I only have to carry a little bit of ingots. So when I'm making stuff or whatever, making armor. So I was making armor in the end one time and doing armor trims and stuff just because I could. I had all the stuff with me. But I've always got blocks as well of each type. I've always got some ores of each type that I can fortune up or use that for decoration or whatever. But yeah, I always found that had all the blocks together. I had all the raw ores together. I always found that I was dipping in and out of different bundles to try and organize breaking down lapis blocks into lapis. I had to go into 2 different bundles. So now I've got, if I need more lapis, go like this. I break down my lapis while I'm enchanting or whatever. And it's just one bundle. So this is what we've got. We've got coal, copper, gold, iron, resin and honey. Oh, right. I put that there as a placeholder, but in the wrong box. We are meant to be getting the copper, like little nugget things. So I have to take that out. So that's not meant to be there. Right. So I wasn't sure about keeping the echo shards in there or not. But I do find that I use honeycomb sometime for decoration. So I just wanted to have, some in there. And every now and then I use these for decoration as well. So, if I can fit it, I might as well keep it on me, right? Okay, so lapis, emerald, diamond, and then all the nether stuff here. I did kind of want this in 2 separate bundles, but it just fits so nicely here and I didn't really have the extra room. So I just put all the nether stuff together. So I can quickly make eyes of ender as well for decoration if I just use my blaze powder there and my ender pearls that I have in the other box. Ancient debris and netherites, and if you're lucky enough to have them. Okay, then this is where we've got the colorful coral. So we've got the blocks, the actual pieces of coral, and then the fans like all together, and then just like that. Okay, now this is my exploration box, the orange one. So kind of like my toolbox. So while I'm going around, different ways of moving myself or mobs around, or say I am in the nether and I want a fire resistance potion, I've got one. Say I'm going out looking for a certain wood type and then I get distracted by a shipwreck. So I go and get myself a door so I can breathe because I don't want to, build my full conduit. I can just use a door so I can breathe underwater. I'm boating around. I've got my boat there. And then I come along, say an ocean monument, then I've got a water breathing potion. I've just got stuff with me for whenever I want to, mess around, do whatever. I've got a beacon if I suddenly feel like just making a big hole and getting lots of supplies. So I've got the full beacon base, so 2 stacks plus 36. Then I've got a few ingots just in this box as well, instead of having to go into the other box, just to activate the beacons. I've got extra normally so that I can use it for decoration if I want to build something. I always got extra buckets if I see like a certain fish that I want to catch, lava, or if I'm in a bastion for some reason. Got the harnesses for the new ghast. It's a normal saddle that we can craft now anyway. This isn't very useful when you're going far, but for decoration wise and just getting things started and seeing if something will work while you're building, it's really, really useful for just doing, quick redstone stuff. If you are going to do big rail stuff, that's when you want to get your project boxes out and fill them up and stuff. Okay, over here we've got the trial chamber keys. Now these are like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it doesn't show up at the top. But when you pull them out, you can see that they all do have different levels. 2, 3, 4, 5. For when you just randomly come and get across a trial chamber, I always when I have name tags on me. Leads, yes. Ladders, yes. Scaffolding, yes. I love using these rather than this, but it always is nice just to have the option to move around. Yeah, so we've got the obsidian in here as well, flint and steel. If you run out 2,000 blocks in the nether or whatever and you want to see what biome's going to be there, you can just quickly light a portal. We've got a bed. I know we've had the lodestones for a while, but I've never used them because they were so expensive. So what I used to do in this box was keep a little book, a book and quill, and write down coordinates. But now we can just, lodestones are so cheap and easy to make. I can just keep a stack of compasses, a stack of lodestones. While I'm out and about, I can mark stuff, use an anvil to name the compasses, what they are. Like say I found a desert, I can just name that compass, put the coordinates on it even if I wanted to, and leave a lodestone there. And I'm really excited to use that now. Last box, we've got the redstone box. tried to keep things nice and tidy because redstone boxes can get really messy and yeah, hard to find stuff quickly. Over here, we've got the sculk sensors that I use a lot of, buttons, plates and irons. This really didn't need to be out on its own. I just kept that in a bundle. And then yeah, just levers, hooks and strings and that's it. I did want to show you one thing over here, chests and shulker shells, because you can't carry shulkers inside shulkers, but you can carry chests and shulker shells. So if you end up out in raiding and you want to fill up 5, 6, 7 shulkers just of loot, blocks, whatever, you can fill your inventory and just make them as you go. Same with the bundles. If you just got like a bit of mess while you're out caving, say you run across sunken treasure ship or just whatever, and you just got a little bit of stuff, you can keep bundles inside bundles. Or I do have leather and string kept separately that I could make some. So I always keep a couple of spare bundles and stuff to make shulkers. Once I get up a bit, of course, and have the option to. So this is my inventory and this is my ender chest shulker storage system that I'm super keen to use on the next season that my server goes up on. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.